Alright, so we're just going to go through and do a quick kind of engine bay cleanup here. Vacuum out all the shells and mice poop and stuff. And maybe do a little blowing with the compressed air just to make sure there's nothing in any of the engine parts that are going to potentially catch fire when it gets hot. And then we'll maybe pull the spark plug wires there quick and pull the spark plugs and just see what they look like, whether they look okay, whether they need to be replaced if the gap's way too big. See if we can make it run a little bit better on that front. And then we'll maybe look into the wheels quick, because the right rear at least won't hold air at all anymore, so it makes it very hard to move it around. So see what we can do with that as well. Let's get to it. So that's looking quite a bit better. Got a bunch of the maple keys and debris sucked out of it that rots these things from the inside out. So let's take a quick look at the spark plugs now. Cool thing about this is there's actually a little tool that lives in the spark plug well there. There's a little strip that goes across that says BMW on it that we'll put on afterwards. But this just lives in there. And what you can do is you slip it over the end of the wire, and then you can use that to pull the whole chunk out of here. And the spark plugs are way down there, of course. Just like that. I just noticed there's some there's some chewing marks in the one spark plug wire from mice. I'm assuming it's from mice, so I have to replace these likely. But and the one of them here is I don't know if it got partly pulled out or if it's also been chewed away, but those could also be part of the reason why it doesn't run as well as it could. That, and of course it probably has a million vacuum leaks and still not fully premium fuel, and it could also have dirty injectors, or however that injection works. I'm not super familiar with that yet. Let me see if I can grab a socket to get those spark plugs out of there. They look relatively small. Well, for me it's crazy to think at least, but I guess spark plugs are supposed to be all the same, so these are just a regular 5/8, which is the smaller of the two common spark plug socket sizes. So that's all it is. Ooh, fancy. Look at. Gonna focus. There we go. Look at that. 2 ground electrodes. Fancy. It's definitely rich looking, but the gap doesn't look terrible. That's number one. And they don't look that old. Bosch plugs. I think for now I'll probably just put them back in and leave them alone. I'm thinking the spark plug wires are probably a bigger place to start, and then if it's still having trouble, then maybe a new set of plugs would be in order. But for the most part, I think it's going to be the wiring. Alright, so for now I'll just put those back in and torque them up to the 15 foot-pounds, which is fairly normal for an aluminum head. 30 foot-pounds if you have a steel head. And then we'll move on to looking at some tires. Alright, so the plan here is to do something with this useless thing. It doesn't hold it anymore. These are the snow tires from my Mark II Jetta. I'm not driving the Mark II in the winter anymore for the last couple of years. I was going to put them on this year, so I'll maybe have to steal them back, but for now we'll put these on the E30 here. I believe the size is basically exactly the same. These are 195, well 195 60/14, and these are 185 65/14. So very similar size. The car will never know any different, that's for sure. So let's get this jacked up and get this one off and find out if the offset for these are okay. I know the bolt pattern and the hub size are identical on both cars, so it's just a matter of if the offset is going to be okay with disc brakes and whatnot, because this car has disc on the back and the Mark IIs are drums, so we'll see how it goes here. Alright, so with a little bit of fun there to get the original wheel off, being aluminum of course, and having not been off of there in over 10 years, it was pretty stuck. But the Mark II rim fits perfectly. Offset doesn't look too bad, it's maybe a little further in than the original wheels. One thing is the BMW rims are a straight cone, and the Volkswagen ones are what you call a ball cone, I guess, or a rounded cone, so the bolts don't fit the rim quite exactly. But I'm not too worried about it, because number one, it's not going to be driven, you know, on the road like this, and number two, the center hub is an exact fit, so it's doing all the work, so I'm not worried about, you know, stressing the cones or bolts in a weird way. But those will work pretty well for now. That's the only one of the four that was not full of air still, so I've aired it up to max pressure, and we'll see if it's going to stay or not. Really, when you do that, it needs to run down the highway to get everything warmed up and seated, so if it leaks down again, I won't be surprised. But I'm going to run around and we'll try and change the other three as quick as we can. We're quickly running out of daylight here. Get them changed so that the car is mobile and will roll better, and then we'll get it parked away, and that'll be about it for this day at least. Hey, voila! It is now a BMW with Mark II Volkswagen rims and snow tires on it. That should all hold air. At least a lot better than these. One of which is a self-standing tire because it's completely flat. So yeah, that's got that done at least, so the car should be mobile. I apologize for the very poor lighting as it's now dark here even though it's only 5:45. Yeah, that's gonna about do it for today. I'm happy with the progress on that. It should roll a lot more easily now than before, of course. And yeah, we'll keep picking away at it slowly when we get a chance to work on it next. Stick around to see the next part of the progress on this project.